over chapter 9, which is doing monopolies. So we just finished talking about perfect competition, where we had many buyers, many sellers, same product, price taker, right? Let's go to the exact opposite of that. So, what is a monopoly? A monopoly is one firm that produces all of the output in the market. So there are no close substitutes. They are the only one that we have. And we've actually had a few monopolies just throughout, just existence. For example, DuPont was considered a monopoly just because they really had most of the market share. They had like 75% of the market share for their product. We've also had products like Microsoft, right? They were the big ones in terms of computer technology. So from the 1990s to 2004, the United States Department of Justice prosecuted the Microsoft Corporation for including Internet Explorer as a default web browser with its operating system. So basically, what was happening here was um, Microsoft had just a ton of market share. Like they had, like most of the people were using Microsoft. All right. And so when they just threw on the Internet Explorer, which really was no cost to them, right? They just added it on to everything that you're already using. This created an opportunity for them to just wipe out any competition of other web browsers. And that really is just what a monopoly is just like there's no competition with them. Okay. And they're really hard to compete with because they also have economies of scale. Remember, as economies of scale was that part where if your quantity is going up, your average cost is going down. And monopolies have this. Like, they have the economies of scale to be able to do something at a lower cost. And it makes it really, you know, sometimes it makes a good sense for them to only be one producer, right? So, from a consumer standpoint, if your firm can do it at a lower cost, you might have a better price. That's the idea, right? And so we've had a lot of monopolies just throughout time, and technology has actually given competition more of a possibility. Let's take for instance AT&T. AT&T was the only phone company that could do local and long distance service. Like legally, the government was like, "You're okay. You're fine," but the only one doing the cell service. And this was because it was a tough market to get into, so AT&T was the one that was doing it. So over time, with more technology, other firms were able to eventually get into the market and start doing their own cell service, to where now we have more of a competitive market in terms of phones. And most of the time, most of the deregulation meaning, um, you know, it's like we're trying to get in there and kind of like get rid of these monopolies. Most of that took place from 1970s, 1990s. Okay, so let's get more into what is a monopoly. So a monopoly is going to be one of those firms. So one firm, and they have high barriers to entry. And what the barriers to entry mean is that it could be like you have to have a specific machine in order to make this product. And so you have to buy that one machine in order to get started, and it could be really expensive. You could need a lot of advertising budget to really compete with other ones. Let's think about someone as big as Coca-Cola, right? Like they have a huge amount of money that they can put towards advertising. So a lot of people know about their product. And so if you wanted to make a soda, it'd be really, really hard for people to buy your stuff because you don't really have the advertising budget that Coca-Cola has. That's another barrier to entry. Um, Barriers to entry could also be maybe a high license cost to get in. Maybe you need a specific license in order to just get started. So that's also a barrier, maybe a license. Anything that's going to prevent you from starting your own business could lead to only one business doing it. Another thing that can make a monopoly is the control of a physical resource. So basically, if you owned an island right? That's your island, and so you control everything about it. No one can come in because it's yours. Well, imagine Monopoly owning the lake. And then at the lake, right, they can control the fish, they can control the water, right? They have complete control of everything about the lake. And no other business can do business at the lake. So that's kind of an example of control of physical resource. Most of the time, this could be like an oil field, right? What if one business had control of one oil field? They have all of it. So that would lead to a monopoly. Now, we also have legal monopolies. These are the ones where laws that prohibit competition. So, for example, under U.S. law, no organization but the U.S. Postal Service is legally allowed to deliver first class mail. Or only having, so like basically only the Postal Service can do that. We also have the option where some cities only allow one electric company for your city. And the thinking here is that you don't need multiple power lines coming into your house, right? You only need one. So we're trying to be efficient by saying, okay, you only need one, so we only need one electric company. Okay, so we do have legal monopolies as well. Another thing about that could create a monopoly is a thing called intellectual property. So we do have laws that kind of create innovation. So basically, we want entrepreneurs to come up with ideas. But the thing is that if they come up with a really good idea, the person that heard them say that idea will also be making that. And then we lead into like a perfect competition where we're making the exact same products. And so there's no benefit for the entrepreneur then, because the whole benefit there was like, this is mine, I'm unique, I can make my own thing, I can make more profits out of this. But if someone's going to steal your idea, there's like no benefit because you put all the work in and they steal your idea, then we kind of lose that innovation. So the government said, okay, fine, we need to protect the innovation. Let's create certain laws so where you are protected with your ideas. And what they came up with is patents. So with a patent, you can have that idea, that way of doing things, that style of t-shirt, your invention. You can do that for 20 years and it's protected. No one else can come in and try and make something like it. We also have trademarks, so nobody else can make a t-shirt with the Nike swish or another logo that has a trademark on it. Only that company can use it. We also have copyright laws. All of these are a way to kind of give an incentive for the invention of new ideas because, hey, if you're the only one that can make it, you are the firm that makes it for everybody. So we kind of are creating monopolies in some way because of this. And then finally, there is that power of predatory pricing. So if you do have a monopoly, right, you do have that power to just charge whatever you want. You can actually lower your price so much because you have those economies of scale. You can actually lower your price a lot to really put a lot of people out of business. So think about somebody as big as Amazon, and you want to try and make your own Amazon-like store, but they're so big they can just lower their prices to where no one's going to buy from you. They only buy from Amazon. This could happen, but it's also illegal and hard to prove. So it could happen with a monopoly. That's why it's kind of like a barrier to entry. It's like, you want to do it this price, but then the monopoly is going to be able to do it lower, so no one's going to buy from you. So that's the issue. So that could also just keep a monopoly, right? If you already have that power over pricing, this can just enhance it even more. Okay. So let's just sum up the barriers to entry. So a natural monopoly is going to be that one where you control a natural resource, whether it be water or whether it be electricity, right? There's something that controls that monopoly controls to where we only need that one thing, like one electric line coming into your house. We do have government often involved in this just because, it's like we really need electricity, right? So we do have the government trying to make sure that they don't like just charge us too much. That's the idea. Control. So there is no over a physical resource. So like if a monopoly owns a lake, they own the lake. They have the rights to the lake, like De Beers and diamonds. Legal monopoly, right? We do have those, like the post office, or we have had some regulations on airlines. Patents and trademarks, right? We're trying to protect those intellectual properties. Sometimes like a new drug or software, we're trying to increase that innovation. And then finally, we're trying to, there's also the intimidating potential competitors. So there's somewhat of a regulation here, right? So the predatory pricing, that's illegal. So that's regulation. Um, um, but also, that advertising budget that bigger firms have, it's kind of like a barrier to entry, and it's kind of intimidating for potential competitors. So those are the ways that we can create a monopoly. But the main thing about a monopoly is that there's one firm, and they sell a unique product. Unique meaning they're the only one. Okay? So we'll get into how this looks on a graph in the next video. I'll see you there.